Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever checked your bank account at the end of the month and thought, why is it so much harder to get ahead than it was for my parents? Well, you are absolutely not alone. There's some hidden math at work here, and today we're going to expose exactly how it operates.
Let's dive right into a terrifying paradox. It sounds completely unbelievable, but having a child is actually the single best predictor that a family is going to end up in financial collapse. According to research from Harvard professor Elizabeth Warren, married couples with kids are more than twice as likely to file for bankruptcy as couples without them. And a divorced woman raising a child, she is 3 times more likely to file for bankruptcy than her single friend who never had kids. Crazy, right?
Which brings us to this staggering number, 14.7. That's the bankruptcy filing rate per 1,000 for couples with kids, compared to just 7.3 for couples without them. So what is actually driving this? It's not like parents are suddenly blowing all their cash on big screen TVs and luxury vacations. It's really driven by a stealthy shift in who pays to educate the next generation. What used to be a shared social cost has transformed into a massive private burden carried almost entirely by individual parents.
Section 1. The Suburban Bidding War. As public schools in certain areas began to struggle, parents faced a brutal choice: leave their kids in failing schools or find a way out. To buy into a decent public school district, families had to move. But, as we know, there are only so many houses in good school districts. So families went from using a mother's paycheck as extra ping money back in the 1970s to relying entirely on 2 full-time incomes today just to qualify for a massive mortgage. When millions of families send a second earner into the workforce just to bid on the exact same limited supply of good suburban homes, prices are naturally going to skyrocket.
Ultimately, the cost of a basic education has aggressively shifted directly onto the shoulders of parents. We still call our school system public, but let's be real, it's essentially transformed into a private system. You're basically buying your child's admission to a good public school by purchasing a highly inflated, super expensive home in a select neighborhood.
Let's put a human face to this. Consider Emily Chung. She was a mother living in the city who stretched her budget to the absolute breaking point. After a series of break-ins on her street, she committed nearly half of her monthly income to a mortgage just to get her boys into a safe neighborhood with a driveway and a yard. She took a massive financial gamble, literally risking bankruptcy, simply to make sure her children were safe and getting a decent education.
So what's the fallout? This parental desperation triggered a massive bidding war, causing family mortgage expenses to leap by an astonishing 69% over a single generation. What's absolutely wild is that during this exact same period, other basic family expenses, like food, clothing, and appliances, stayed flat or actually fell. The middle-class budget is just being devoured by housing costs, which, as we've seen, are really disguised education costs.
Section 2. Hidden asset price inflation.
Now, the true culprit behind this squeeze is something most people don't even notice. While we're all stressing out over consumer price inflation at the supermarket, the researchers at the Flossbach von Storch Institute found that asset prices have been quietly racing off at an average of 6 to 12% annually. Asset price inflation refers to the price increases of real assets, like real estate, and financial assets, like stocks. And because these are excluded from the standard consumer price index, this massive inflation goes completely unreported on the evening news.
Just think about the price increases over an 8-year period. If you owned assets during that time, you saw massive gains. Real estate was up 79%, business wealth up 55%, and shares up 32%. But if you didn't already own those assets, wow, the financial ladder was effectively pulled up right in front of you. Because of this hidden inflation, wealth accumulation became 67% more expensive for non-homeowners. If you're a young family trying to buy your first home to get your kid into a decent school, you are paying a massive premium compared to a generation ago. This dynamic is effectively crushing the middle-class dream for anyone without existing capital.
Section 3. Education's staggering price tag. As if the housing bidding war wasn't enough to bankrupt a family, the very definition of a basic education has dramatically expanded. In a single generation, the essential years of education grew from the standard 13 years, kindergarten through 12th grade, to 19 years, stretching all the way from preschool through a 4-year college degree. But here's the catch: public funding did not expand to cover those extra 6 years. Families have been left completely alone to foot this massive bill. Get this. To put things into perspective, a full-day public preschool program in Chicago cost $6,500 back in 2002.
At that exact same time, that $6,500 price tag was actually more than the in-state tuition at the University of Illinois. Parents are literally bleeding cash before their child even enters kindergarten.
And when those kids finally reach college, it's a financial bloodbath. Was a college degree now universally viewed as an absolute necessity for success? Universities have incredible pricing power. In fact, tuition costs have surged 10 times faster than wages. To finance this dream, millions of parents are taking out federal loans, private loans, and even second mortgages on their homes. They're mortgaging their own retirements just to buy their children a ticket to the middle class.
Section 4. Protecting your wealth.
Okay, we know the math is rigged against the middle class right now, but we are not helpless here. To transition from mystery to mastery, we're going to look at some proven wealth protection strategies from the financial experts at range.com. These are designed to maintain your purchasing power during uncertain times, and they focus on 4 key areas: hard assets, tips, commodities, and international diversification. Let's break them down.
Strategy number 1, hard assets. We're talking about owning things with physical, tangible value like gold, real estate, and farmland that operate outside the traditional financial system. Hard assets provide physical protection because, unlike paper investments or fiat currency, they hold on to their intrinsic worth even when central bank monetary policies weaken your currency's buying power.
Strategy 2 is utilizing TIPS, or Treasury Inflation-Protected Securities. These offer a brilliant defense mechanism. Backed by the safety of the U.S. government, the principal value of a TIPS bond automatically adjusts based directly on the Consumer Price Index. So, if inflation goes up, the value of your investment goes up right along with it. It's a direct, stress-free hedge.
Strategy 3 involves commodities. Think raw materials, energy resources, agricultural products, and industrial metals. Commodities act as fantastic portfolio stabilizers because they naturally rise in price during inflationary cycles. As the cost of building houses or fueling cars goes up, so does the value of your commodity investments, which beautifully hedges against the erosion of your wealth.
Strategy 4 is international diversification. This simply means spreading your investments across different countries and currencies. By holding foreign stocks or real estate in countries with strong monetary policies, you geographically protect yourself against any single country's currency devaluation. It's a really vital safety net in today's globally connected world.
But how do you actually implement all this? Well, the most resilient approach isn't just relying entirely on one of these methods. It's absolutely crucial to combine multiple long-term strategies to create balanced protection tailored to your specific financial situation. And truthfully, this is complex stuff, so working with financial professionals to build out this structural defense is an incredibly smart move.
Which leaves us with one final critical question for you to ponder today. Look at your own finances, your goals, and the hidden math of our modern economy. Are you proactively protecting your portfolio and your purchasing power? Or are you just blindly paying for the bidding war? Understanding the game is the first step to winning it. Thanks for joining this explainer. Go take a close look at your assets today.